Do not send a pricing sheet. Do not talk pricing over DMs, emails, or whatever. You always want to think about like a business and a CEO, not a shooter. What you do is you charge that second person $1,500. Now you got $3,000 total. The shooter God has spoken. Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Brandon Shot Me. Listen, welcome back again. I know it's been 30 years, but guess what? I'm back a little bit. Today, we're gonna talk about how to price your photography and videography services. See right there? It's the camera. Photography. You see what I drew? Regardless, let's go and jump into it, right? So I think like, share, subscribe, or whatever y'all be doing on here. Here's what happens. A lot of photographers and videographers do not know how to price their services. I've talked to so many photographers and videographers, and guess what? Why is the pricing different between everybody? Even if it's the same industry. What happens is the industry will blend, meaning like somebody from a music video industry or the wedding industry, they will charge the same or something similar. The people in the music video industry or the wedding industry, they will charge something weird if they're doing an event or something along those lines. So they created whatever their weird pricing was for weddings on top of whatever their weird pricing is for music videos. But nobody actually went through an actual standard of what's the best way to actually price your service in general. When you think about pricing, you guys heard the term time is money. Because it is. So what you want to do is you want to use your hourly rate. First thing you want to do is figure out what that is. Okay. So for simple math, I'm just gonna put $100. Okay. It's up to you to better figure out what is your time worth. And if you're not really sure, start out with $100, and then depending on what the price comes up to, you can fluctuate this based on what you feel like is fair to your market. Now, the four things that you want to think about whenever you come up with an actual price point, meaning you're talking to a client and somebody's saying how much your service is. Do not send a pricing sheet. Do not tell people your hourly rates. Do not talk pricing over DMs, emails, or whatever. You only talk pricing over a phone call. All right, so now here's what you want to do. You want to look at the time it takes you to be able to shoot it, right? What is that time? How long it takes you to edit? This one's a tricky one. How long does it take you to do this? We also include travel time. These are your main four factors. And revisions. If you don't know what revisions is essentially a change to the project. Now, how long does it take you to actually shoot it, right? So let's say you're $100 an hour, right? And somebody wants you to do a shoot for 2 hours. That's $200. This is math, y'all. Now, the editing, let's say that I want a 60-second video, or I want to edit 5 photos, whatever it is, right? Let's say that takes you 3 hours to be able to edit. You're probably thinking, even if you're not thinking it, I'm gonna help you out. Let's say you don't want to get to the point where you're too slow with editing and then you have to charge more just because you're a slow editor. But you also don't want this number too low, right? What takes you 30 minutes. You want to penalize yourself for being too fast. You want to have a general rule when it comes to editing. So think about maybe mid in your career, on average, how long would it take you to edit this? You're welcome. Now you're at 300, right? Traveling. Let's say it takes you 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. That's 1 hour. Now you're 100. Now, typical editing or typical packages will include revisions, right? So let's say your package already includes 2 revisions, and then you just want to guesstimate on the front end how long it'll take you to do a revision. So let's just say, for me, I'm gonna just say 2 hours. So now, let's say 200 here, that's $800. So now you can charge this client $800 for this project. But guess what? You found out this is the base way to be able to price your services. But guess what? This is not enough. This is just the intro. This is how much it costs to do the job, but we're not done yet. You want to include miscellaneous. This is something that people don't think about. Miscellaneous are things like food. When I say food, I don't mean like you need to eat before you get there. What I'm saying is maybe it could be a long day. You didn't realize that maybe it's an 8-hour event and they're not going to feed you at this event, right? So you already need to know in mind that, well, if they're not going to feed me, don't even count on them feeding me. When I put in my contract, they're going to feed me. Listen, don't even count on that. I'm already going to add extra thing for food. Let's say it's valet or parking. Don't think about them trying to reimburse you for your valet or parking. I already know, okay, this is going to be a downtown Atlanta. This is going to be downtown New York. I know they charge $100 for valet or parking. If it's travel, right? So if it's flights, hotels, don't think about them reimburse you for the flight. Here's the thing. Some people may reimburse you for the flight, but you might not want to fly Spirit. You might not want to fly Frontier. You might not want to fly in the stand-up seats. You might not want to fly. You don't want to be a 48F. You want to be in the middle seat. We don't know. How about you just charge her for that and then you can buy your own flight? Equipment rental. What happened is you got to rent something. So you out there talking to the client, talking about, oh, well, I need to go and get this gear for that. I need to get this camera for that. I need to get this lens for that. They're like, I don't care what they got to do with me. You charge me extra? No. You just already know it's going to cost you an extra $300 to rent it. So now what happens is you add all these things up. This $800 to turn into, let's say you rented something for $300. Let's say you include a valet for $100 and that's it. So now what happens is you added miscellaneous. So now your price is not 800. We added a 400 to it. We put 400 for miscellaneous. Now you're at $1,200. $1,200. But guess what? We got in the cost to do the job. We got the miscellaneous. We do all-inclusive pricing, meaning we do not a la carte, we do not separate. We just give them the price. It's $1,200 and it comes with this many edits, this many hours, this whatever, that's it, all-inclusive. We don't put in the invoice, oh, we gotta go rent a freaking drone. No, it's gonna cost you $1,200. But guess what? That's not enough. Now what you wanna do is, you wanna add in what you call something called profit. Sometimes I might call it BS tax. If you look at other companies, right? A pair of Air Jordans, it costs $25 to make, but they sell it for $200. Why is that? They got something called profit. For businesses to make money, they have to do something called a markup, have to mark up the price so that we can make money in between. It's a cost to do the thing, and then you get paid on what's left. If the cost to make an iPhone, it costs whatever, I think it was like $500, something like that, to make an iPhone, regardless. And they sell it for $1,000, $1,500. Regardless of the case, you want to think about that as well, because it is a cost of you to do something as well. Your time. It costs you $800 of your time to do it. What is their profit on top of that? Okay. What is the profit like on top of that? So meaning, if you needed to go and get somebody else to go and do the job for you, if you say, you know what, I can't do this shoot on Saturday, I'm going to send somebody else, and they charge $800, you didn't make any money, okay? You always want to think about like a business and a CEO, not a shooter. So now here's what happens. Now you want to add in profit. So now let's just add in, you want to add in 10, 20%, things along those lines. But I'm just for simple math, I'm just going to add an extra $300 just to even it out. Now we're at $1,500 for the shoot. Here's the great thing about this. If you go and do this shoot, you have everything covered and you don't have to go back and ask this client for anything. You charge the client $1,500 for this $200 video and get whatever the edit was. What'll happen is you got the equipment that you needed. You didn't have to call the client after and try to figure out what parking looks like. You've already, if something happened to where the valet parking was more than you thought it would, it doesn't matter, you got it covered. If you knew that you needed to bring in an assistant or a second shooter, you charge enough so that way you can bring it. Hell, if you need to rent a van and you forgot to charge it in there, you have enough money to make sure your client has a great experience and everything is covered in this $1,500. You're welcome. Here's the kicker, here's the bonus. Has anybody been to a place where you've been double booked? When I say double booked, meaning like I gotta shoot on Saturday, but I can't do another shoot on Saturday because I'm already shooting on Saturday. If you charge this first person $1,500 and a second client calls you and say, hey, I want to do a similar shoot, but you're like, wow, I can't do that because I can't be in two places at one time. What you do is you charge that second person $1,500. Now you got $3,000 total, and you take $500, $600, $700 of this $3,000 and get another person to go do the job for you. The shooter God has spoken. I hope this helps somebody. So listen, y'all, this is how to properly price your services at a premium price. If this helped you, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and do all the cool stuff. I have a link in my description if you actually want to work with me and my team to be able to help you grow your photography videography business to 10K a month. Just check out the links in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video. Peace.